Hey everyone, Grayson the Bard here, and welcome back to day 155 of the hunt today. The final edited video of the hunt today, because tomorrow we are doing the finale live here on YouTube, fighting Fatalis. But today, in the last edited video, we are fighting the number one official, most popular monster per the 20th anniversary popularity contest that Capcom did. Today we are fighting everyone's favorite Thunderbringer, Zinogre. And that includes me. I really love and appreciate Zinogre. It is a great monster that has so much going on with its design and its lore and its fight that it could easily be like too much. I think about Zinogre, it is like what happens when your dog and its fleas form an accord and become too powerful to contain. The entire monster is a walking insect hive for those lightning fulgur bugs that it weaponizes and forms a symbiotic relationship with. It provides a home for in exchange for them providing defense for it. But then when you fight Zinogre, you realize it doesn't really need any help defending itself because this man can throw hands. On top of that, add a supercharged, enraged state that you can knock it out of, and you have a top quality 10 out of 10 monster on your hands. I was in no way surprised when I saw them do the big reveal of the top 10 monsters from that popularity poll. I was expecting to see Zinogre in the top 5. I was expecting to see Zinogre in the top 3, but I will admit I was a bit surprised to see Zinogre in the number 1 spot, just because so much of that list was biased towards 5th generation Monster Hunter monsters specifically. I thought for sure Nergigante was going to take the top spot, or Velkhana. Even Rathalos I was kind of expecting to see higher just because of the mascot status that it has. But I was incredibly happy to see Zinogre take that spot. As a big fan of the 3rd generation, whose most favorite monsters all come from, well, not all, but a good chunk of them all come from 3rd generation. Seeing the Thunder Puppy take that spot was great. Let's talk about his design, because you know me, I like bright, saturated colored monsters, and Zinogre is one of the brightest and most saturated of the monsters. A bright green and yellow, skin tone with the fur, and then when it uses the electricity, that, crackling electric blue added on top of that. Zinogre is incredibly bright and incredibly colorful in the best way. And it works really well with its design because Zinogre is not a subtle monster. You know, seeing those kind of colors on a Nargacuga, for example, would look jarring and would be out of place. But Zinogre doesn't care if you see it coming. You know when Zinogre is here, and Zinogre is going to make you suffer because of it. So having it have this this bright standout color scheme really works well. It is not an ambush predator. It is an in-your-face brawler. The wolf body and the more canine face that it has to it, but also still having the draconic scaled wyvern look, is a really nice contrast and takes it from just being a wolf with electric powers to being a really cool draconic entity. And I think I would like the creature a lot less if it were more directly just a big wolf. If it didn't have the scales, if it didn't have the more reptilian look to its skin, I don't think I would enjoy the look of Zinogre as much. And then, of course, you have his horns, which in world you get the best look at it, but you can see the little holes in his horns and the little things of carapace that are coming off of his back that are essentially insect hives. Those are just full of those fulgur bugs that go in and out. And the concept of a walking insect hive is such a cool idea for a monster that I can't believe they haven't come back to it and used it on a monster that isn't Zinogre. But I feel like they just think they got it in one. They don't need to do any more swarm insect monsters because, hey, we have Zinogre. Zinogre's our insect queen. He's great. I love Zinogre so much. And of course, the howl, when it charges up its electricity, giving you a big opening to attack, but also building up its own power. And then when it howls and unleashes a torrent of electric energy around itself, and its hair stands up, its spikes elongate for some reason. That I'm not going to question. It looks cool. I don't particularly care. and it becomes faster. Its attacks become supercharged. Physical moves that did not have electricity on them now can shock the shit out of you. And then my all-time favorite moves that Zinogre has, that if they ever take it away, I will be so sad, is his, like, wrestling move from the top rope as, like, somersault into a, like, back slam. It leaves him on the ground for just a second as, like, there's a short delay and pillars of electricity come up around him. It's such a cool move. It is such a great move. And if they ever take that move away from him, I would be so sad. Any monster that incorporates, like, a wrestling move or a wrestling motif into its moveset, I am all about. I loved professional wrestling when I was a kid. I have not followed it in, like, years, but anytime I see a monster do, like, a from the top rope type move, I'm all about it. Ray and Lolo Gogar from Frontier, if you haven't watched my video hunting them, check it out. I talk about that a little bit more, but just, like, I love Wrestle Boys. And in terms of the fight itself, Zinogre is one of those monsters that, you know, encompasses everything I love about Monster Hunter. It is a fast, aggressive creature. It doesn't feel like it has, like, too many hit points, but it is tanky enough to feel like a threat. And the way it attacks, it is, especially when it is enraged, it is just a never-ending assault that you almost have to wait out before getting your own openings. But you can knock it out of that enraged state by targeting its head, which is a dangerous spot to be with how front-facing a majority of its attacks are. It's a good trade-off and a really good fight design. When he's not enraged, he is still aggressive and can still be a threat, but definitely the powered-up supercharged state is the best, like, most engaging that the fight is. Something I really love that I didn't show off in this video at all is if you use a shock trap on Zinogre, it will not only not get stopped in the trap, you can only use, or like in earlier games, you could only use pitfall traps on Zinogre. And if it wasn't enraged while you were using, when you tried to use a shock trap on it, it would immediately go into the supercharged state as it takes up all of the energy from the shock trap you tried to use on it. I love interactions like that. I think it's the same thing with Rajang. You can't use pitfall traps on Rajang because it'll just, like, bust out of them immediately. That kind of thing. I want more of those kind of interactions in Monster Hunter again. I want, like, because right now, I know for a fact that's not a thing in Rise, or at least not to the same degree, because I remember trapping a bunch of Zinogre when I was doing my crown hunting in Monster Hunter Rise, and I don't remember if it's a thing in World. I didn't check it this hunt. I kind of want to go back and do that now. But it is something that I really want them to bring back. I want to see more monsters that have unique item or mechanic interactions, because I like changing the way I approach hunts and how I end them, you know? In terms of returning in Monster Hunter Wilds, I have a theory, like, I was thinking about it after I recorded the Ruiner audio yesterday, and I don't necessarily want any of the top 3 monsters to be back in Wilds, you know, for reasons I've gone into. Lagiacrus, I think the next time I want to see him again is when we see underwater combat make a return. Nergigante, I think Capcom's going to give him a little breathing room, and I think it would be nice to have another, like, big, threatening Elder Dragon take his place for a game before they bring him back. And Zinogre, the man can use a break. He's been in pretty much every game since his introduction. Let's let some new, like, top-tier monsters take a bow and, like, get their moment in the spotlight. But I also think Capcom probably did that 20th anniversary thing for a reason. I would not be surprised, the same way that, like, when people saw the updated renders for Fatalis, that's what like convinced Capcom to add Fatalis into Monster Hunter World. I would not be surprised if, because of the popularity poll, if by the end of Wilds, either through title updates or the expansion, we saw Lagiacrus, Nergigante, and Zinogre in the same game just because of their status as the 3 most popular monsters. Which makes me even more sad that Duramboros didn't make the cut. In terms of the popularity contest, I don't know if he's in Wilds. I hope he's in Wilds. I really, really hope I see Duramboros again. But again, I want to preface my, like, thoughts on Zinogre being in Wilds with the caveat that, again, 2 days until release, and I am still mostly spoiler-free on Monster Hunter Wilds. The last thing I saw was the trailer in September. So if I am right, if they've already said yes, all 3 of the top 3 are going to be in the game, cool. I'm glad you know. I don't want to. Please don't say anything about, like, returning monsters in the comments. I don't want to hear it. But I think Zinogre is going to be, like, a high, like, 8 or 9 out of 10, just because of how it has not skipped many games. It is very much one of those monsters that is evergreen, kind of like Rathalos and Diablos. And so I think it's very likely we'll see Zinogre again. And then, of course, a 10 out of 10 for future games, if not because it is the #1 most popular monster according to Capcom's poll, just because it's a great monster and it would be a shame to never see it again. I'm going to wrap up the ramble here. Please stick around until the end of the hunt if you can. This fight may have one of my favorite endings in the entirety of the Hunt Today series. I go blow to blow with Zinogre right at the end, and the way that I take out Zinogre at the end of this hunt was so satisfying, and maybe one of my favorite ways that I have seen a hunt end this entire challenge. Very fitting that it was the last video. Then again, tomorrow I will be going live at 10 a.m. CST to fight Fatalis. I'll be going live until I beat him. That could take an hour, it could take all day. Who knows? We'll see. We all know I'm not the best at this game. And I am also, just to make sure, I believe I got all of the kinks worked out from my last test stream, I'm going to be doing another very short test stream tonight at 6 p.m. CST to just make sure that the scheduled live thing that I'm trying to do works, so that there aren't any hiccups tomorrow morning. So if you want to come hang out for a little bit while I hunt some monsters and work out the final kinks of Streamlabs, please feel free to stop on by. But until then, like, comment, and subscribe if you want to. Don't if you don't. And until next time, I'll see you next time.